Hi guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Pieter-Louis.
Welcome to our podcast Legend and Lore A World Tour. Our story begins in the autumn of 1837 in the bustling streets of London. The city was abuzz with tales of a mysterious figure attacking unsuspecting individuals. One of the earliest reports came from a young servant named Mary Stevens. As she walked through Clapton Common, a strange figure leaped at her from a dark alley, immobilizing her with a tight grip and assaulting her before fleeing into the night. The very next day, a similar figure caused a carriage accident by leaping in front of the horses, then escaping by vaulting over a 9-foot wall. These incidents sparked widespread panic, and soon the newspapers were filled with accounts of this elusive attacker. The press and public dubbed him Spring-Heeled Jack, a name that would become synonymous with fear and fascination.
Is this anything to do with Jack the Ripper?
No,
Would Springfield Jack and Jack the Ripper be the same thing?
no, not even close. No.
Because 1800s was Jack the Ripper as well. Jack the Ripper was 1880.
Spring-Heeled Jack didn't murder anyone.
1888, I think. 8888.
No,
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper killed, Spring-Heeled Jack didn't.
So he just grabbed people and jumped away.
He hurt them, but he didn't kill them.
So it's not kidnapping, he just took them.
No, he just attacked them.
Okay? Oh, I saw a little picture you sent me here. It looks like he's taking someone away. It looks like a kidnapping. It's also in the 1800s, so it's 1838 and then 1888. So it's not Jack the Ripper time, but why are they all called Jack? Was there a problem with London and Jack? The guy from Titanic that died in 1912 was also Jack. Guessing Jack was a thing? Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe it was a popular name. I don't know.
Okay, let's go on.
Anyway, in January 1838, the Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, revealed at the public session that he had received numerous letters from concerned citizens about a ghostly figure attacking people in the streets. One letter described how several young women in Hammersmith had been frightened into dangerous fits and some severely wounded by a sort of claw that the miscreant wore on his hands. Perhaps the most infamous encounter occurred on February 19, 1838. Jane Alsop answered a knock at the door to find a man claiming to be a police officer, stating that they had caught Spring-Heeled Jack and needed a light. When she handed him a candle, he threw off his cloak, revealing a hideous figure with glowing red eyes and clawed hands. He breathed blue flames into her face and tore at her clothing before she managed to escape with the help of her sister. As news of these attacks spread, so did the legend of Spring-Heeled Jack. Reports poured in from various parts of London and beyond. In March 1838, Lucy Scale was attacked in Limehouse by a cloaked figure who breathed blue flames into her face, causing her to collapse. The attacker then vanished into the night. I just want to know what makes these blue flames.
Well, it's not just that. It seems like all of this is getting worse. It went from just an attack to now it's got, and jumping very high, to now it's got blue flames.
Yes, his attack is...
And again, this is 1838 now, so looking at the timeline, this is 5 years later.
It's... well, I don't think it's the same person, in all honesty. But they keep on talking about steel claws and blue flames. And I just want to know, what did these people do? Because they're not just saying it's some random creature, if I understand correctly. They're saying it appears to be human, but not human. It does inhuman things.
So,
And like they're talking about steel claws, so they're not thinking it's an animal or something,
It's
because
not a
obviously
werewolf.
it has to be something that made steel claws.
but what is this classified as? We've done vampires, we've done werewolves, we've done ghosts. There's basically the same 3 or 4
Person with
definitions.
superhuman abilities.
So this isn't
for a
demon or
villain.
ghost or
No, this is
vampire.
villain.
Maybe vampire?
No, villain. The reason I'm saying not vampires because they talk about steel claws.
But why would the only person with superhuman strength attack people? Wouldn't you just like normally
Why
as a
would
person
Jack
be let's start and do good for
Why
for a
would
change?
Jack the Ripper? Maybe his parents didn't like him. I don't know.
It's just, if you've got magical abilities, you're the only one in the world, and Now you're going to go and attack
Yes, but
women.
my mindset will be to help somebody. Somebody
Everybody's
that's
mindset
sick.
will be. That's a
No.
normal thought.
No, then why would you get murderers? Why would you get parents that kill their own kids?
That's the 3% of the population.
Well, this is one of the 3% of the
Yes, but
population.
this would make you special. If you had the choice of being popular and being like known and everybody knew your name and you were famous because of you had these strengths because you helped people, you choose that above hiding.
Every Superman, Batman, all those superhero movies. There's always a villain.
Yeah, but that's just a story. In
They
real
didn't
life,
want to. Well, it's the
well, in
exact
real
same
life,
thing.
it's not like that. In
That-
real life,
no.
people would he would have liked the limelight.
There's people that will agree with look at Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. He understood the evil people's side. The villain's side. There's always somebody that prefer the villain. You get sick-minded people. So no, you cannot. There is people out there sick-minded enough that want to be a villain. That
It's
would
just,
use their abilities to hurt rather than.
But the reason I ask what we classify this as, because 1800 England, let's not go plague. I'm not going to use the P word, the plague
It can't
word.
work here. Why would you want to say plague for one
Because
person?
plague had a reason for everything.
Or multiple persons that has the
Plague-
same mask.
Plague is the reason that Europe existed and not existed, almost not
Okay,
existed
we're
at
not
all.
going plague.
But let's
Move
not
it
go
along.
plague. I'm not going to use that. What I was going to say is, in the 1800, Britain was very obsessed with ghosts for some weird reason, Victorian era. So they, I think just before Victorian, they had the Romantic era, which is weird because they were like this big Romantic era of the 1700s going into the 1800s going like, now we believe in ghosts and everything is ghosts. And that's the 1800s in London specifically. So they just basically, they decided, okay, let's believe in ghosts. Let's believe all the ghost stories. Let's make up ghost stories. They wanted to believe that there was something like that.
This wasn't a false belief.
Yeah, exactly.
People were
that's why
actually attacked, so that
but-
does not.
But that's why I'm asking, does this fall under the whole ghost thing? Because it doesn't seem like Victorian era.
No, because there's actual reports
Yeah.
of attacks.
And
Just like with the werewolves,
and
there's
it's-
actual reports of attacks.
and it's not a ghost.
No, it's not a
If
ghost.
if it was a ghost story, it would
Like
make
I
sense
say-
for the hysteria, but there is no.
I do not believe that this is some superhero or something. I think it's a person with superhuman abilities that makes stuff. So they had money to make these claws and masks and whatever. But anyway, let's continue. Over the years, sightings of Spring-heeled Jack was reported across England, from the Midlands to Scotland. In 1877, soldiers at Aldershot garrison claimed to have encountered a figure who slapped them and escaped by leaping away with astonishing bounds. The same year in Lincolnshire, an angry mob reportedly cornered the figure only for him to escape by leaping over rooftops. So there's the big thing about him. The way he always got away was leaping very high, leaping very far. The last confirmed sighting
But
occurred
did
in
people-
1904.
But except for the victim, did anyone else see him leaping?
Yes, these people had tried to catch him, and
And he actually
there's
just
more than one
jumped as
victim.
high.
There's more than one victim.
You see, what makes this more believable is this is more into the believable side of history. So that means if people say they saw something, they probably did see something.
No, they definitely saw it. There's a lot of people that has accounts of this. There's no question about it. They just couldn't find him to say exactly who or what he was.
Because this does feel like a prank gone wrong. And like I said, this lasted a long time. We've seen 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years now. Same thing, same jumper. I was thinking, okay, maybe it's just someone pranking other people, getting the claw, getting a mask, attacking people, jumping away like kangaroo jumping. But actual...
No, he leaped.
and like I see what Google tells me is this is like there was some mechanism or some mechanical thing that made him go further and bigger and higher than anything
They
else.
don't have proof about that. They speculate.
So maybe he was just.
They don't know how he leaped so far, so they speculated.
So it might have just been a jumpy jump, like a kangaroo jump. It was just his trademark. Maybe he couldn't actually walk normally.
It's possible. I mean, even if you think about people that on circus and stuff, you have people with different abilities that can climb walls and so on. And you think there's Spider-Man, and meanwhile back at the ranch, they're just really good with acrobats. Those types of things. So you don't know what the reason is. Maybe he was just like really good at leaping. But anyway, the last confirmed sighting occurred in 1904 in Liverpool, where residents spotted a figure leaping from street to rooftop before disappearing into the darkness. The true identity of Spring Heel Jack remains a mystery. Some believe he was a prankster or a nobleman seeking thrills. One popular theory pointed to the eccentric Marquis of Waterford, known for his wild behavior. Others speculated that he was a demon of supernatural entity. See, I think about the prankster of a nobleman seeking thrills.
I'm Batman.
So like a Batman of the 1800s.
I don't think Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm thinking of like a group of men bored with their money and their lives and, hey, let's do something fun tonight, drinking one too many, and because I don't think it's one person. I just feel there's more than one.
I'm gonna be with you there. I don't think it's one person.
So with
I think this is a prank or something that's gone too far.
It's a group of men drinking, thinking they're funny, deciding they're gonna go assault people because they're bored, using their money to get these outfits.
And if you look at the timeline,
Honestly, I think about the KKK when I think of these people.
that's a bit of a stretch. Sure. Okay, let's not go there.
I think of this group of men that are just sadistic.
Is there anything in common with the victims? Is there something that they all had in
No,
common? It was just completely
not
random.
that they say, but that's what I'm saying. I think of
because
this
if
group
you-
of men getting dressed in these weird outfits and thinking they're gonna go.
But if
it's
you
women.
wanna-
if I understand correctly, it's women. I think that's.
Yeah, that's all what I saw in the trend here. Is it's all women. But
The
if you
actual
want to go
joke.
call the KKK, there should be something in common, some demographic that does.
No,
kind
I'm
of,
not. Yes, but I'm not talking about race or anything like that. I'm just meaning. I think it's a bunch of men who had a bad idea, put it together, and decided we're gonna go have fun, and they thought they were.
But also,
Okay.
what I'm saying is different guys is the timeline.
And yes, the only reason I'm actually connecting with the KKK is the outfits. It's it gives me that, we're getting dressed and we're gonna go do something. So it's not I'm gonna put my face out there and I'm gonna attack somebody. No, I'm gonna hide between things and behind these masks, and that's actually what I think of them, not the same.
The other reasons,
Crimes.
The other reasons, burning crosses in front
Yes,
of
not the same crimes. It's
specific the demographic people.
It's not the crimes that I'm thinking of specifically. It's literally the fact that they hide their faces, and I feel that's.
Even the
If
last.
you have to hide your face, you're doing something wrong.
But if you look at the last confirmed sighting, 1904, that means that's exactly 71 years from the first sighting. So if it was one person, he would have been at least 71 years old if he started as a baby. I don't know. Let's say.
But you also have to look at the fact that you get copycats.
You do get copycats.
So if it's not father to son or something, it's somebody who lived deeply into this person. If you think of murderers in prison that have women writing to them, telling them they love them and they believe in them, it's the same concept. You have these followers that copycat.
But also remember what I said.
Or they
about-
made a crappy group with outfits and...
Remember what I said at the beginning is, this is the Victorian era. They believed anything. If you said this sock is haunted, they would have believed you and made a story of it and would have probably written something.
No, I don't
some
think
Shakespeare would have
people-
written about it.
I get they were scared about certain things, but no.
No, but the thing is, in Victorian era, they went beyond scared of. In Victorian era, they went to, we completely believe you instead of being scared. That was where it was. That was how bad it was. Not bad. Well, I think Sweeney Todd played off in the 1800s. I'm going to write a story about a barber that eats people. He makes pies and sells pies to people,
It's just
his
gross.
clients. So they exaggerated the little things. So there was maybe was a serial killer, but now he ate people and made pies of them. Exactly like this. I can and I said exaggeration, but this is not a ghost story.
No,
I know
this
that people
isn't a ghost
exaggerated
story.
what the guy's leaping, sure. Copycat by all means, but we're going into the next era here. We're already in 1904s here.
No, they turned him into a legend, but I honestly think this was an actual person or persons that just want to hurt people for fun.
I think the first 3 or 5
And-
was the same person.
They don't want to murder them. They just want to hurt them. They want to assault them. They want to burn them. It's weird. That's why I'm saying it's someone with a weird. What's the word? I don't want to say sense of humor. A weird want that craving to hurt people. Can't think of the word. So anyway, the description of Jack varied, but common features included a tall, thin figure with clawed hands, glowing red eyes, and the ability to breathe blue flames. His most notable trait was his extraordinary leaping ability, which allowed him to escape capture time and time again. That is literally how he got away every single time, because he leapt too far.
So was he fast?
No, not fast.
Jump.
Yes, he could jump
Kangaroo
far.
jump.
So he could be the slowest man on earth, but the fact that he jumped so far, they couldn't catch him. And obviously he could go onto rooftops. If you're on the floor, you're not going to get to a rooftop that quickly as like he did. And if you're on the roof, you're not going to get to the floor. And obviously you can't wait him in because you don't know where he's going to be. So it's not like you can block off an area and wait at the roof and on the floor. So Spring-Heeled Jack's notoriety led to his inclusion in various forms of media. He became a popular figure in penny dreadfuls, cheap serialized fiction that captivated Victorian readers. Over time, his character evolved from a villainous attacker to a more heroic figure in some stories. Now, I don't know.
So now he's Batman.
I don't know how the families feel about this.
Well, I
but
see
yes.
there's another picture you showed me with a guy with his little winged suit. That is what Batman would look like. You described it to me on the
Yes,
phone.
that was for play. That
does look very playish.
Yes, there was a play that was put on about Spring-Heeled Jack.
It's very Batmanish.
Yes. So in modern times, Spring-Heeled Jack has appeared in novels, comics, and even music. His legend has inspired characters in popular culture, such as leaping villains in Batman. So he wasn't Batman, he was a leaping villain in Batman comics, and other supernatural tales. The tale of Spring-Heeled Jack is a fascinating blend of folklore, mass hysteria, your favorite word, and a human penchant for mystery. Whether he was a real person, a supernatural being, or a figment of collective imagination, his story has endured for nearly 2 centuries. As we emerge from this rabbit hole, we're reminded of how legends can leap across time, capturing our imagination and leaving us with more questions than answers.
I don't know. Like I said, I've never heard of Spring-Heeled Jack before this, and I feel like
Same, I haven't.
I feel like someone probably told this to me, and I don't think it might have been interesting enough for me to actually care about it. But now it does fascinate me slightly.
I'm pretty sure if it was one of us that opened the door and the blue fire in your face.
Yeah, but that was one story.
No, it was more than one person that they did it to. It's just the most notable because I think the woman that specific woman was a more important woman than the rest, so they actually wrote something about it.
Maybe they're just adding tales to tales. I don't think there was Blue Flame.
No, it's more than one account that talks about the blue flames, and like I say,
Yeah, but the first person said it, and then everybody else saw it. So maybe there wasn't Blue
there's
Flame.
a very big difference of seeing blue flames and having it in your face. So no, I don't agree with you there.
Did it burn them?
I don't know. I don't have the. Unfortunately, it's so long ago.
I wanted to find something. Why? Going into the big Google again now. Thanks for listening to my typing sounds. No, what Google AI just gives me directly when I do ask about the blue flames is it's part of the urban legend.
Yes,
Not
because it's
much.
so far back.
Yeah, well, it's not that far back. It's believably close.
It's before the internet.
Before the internet, but this is
It's
within,
before camera phones.
but
It's
remember,
before all the street cameras.
The Great Plague was in the 1600s.
You
With the big fire.
cannot change it into a plague.
But
I'm going to
But
lose
the
it
plague
if you
is
change
too
it
far
into a
back.
plague.
The plague is too far back. This was basically just before World War One.
This was a villain who decided he wanted to hurt people.
Basically, when they had the last sighting of this thing, they already had the first aeroplane. It's not that far back. Well, it's far back for us now, but think from written time.
Why would
Victorian era
people
is the
see
last
flames
weird
if
era.
there is not flames?
It was exaggerated. Maybe it was just like, you know, when it's cold outside, you breathe a little, you see your breath. I think it might have been that.
I'm pretty sure that breath in the cold weather and flames coming at you are two very different things.
Maybe he had
No,
something.
maybe nothing.
There was no blue
You know
flame.
what? It's fine. I will make a flame in your face tonight, and then I'll tell you tomorrow you exaggerated. So if the police come here, I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna get the whole podcast community to agree with me. You exaggerated it. Because
How
you're
are you gonna get
taking
flame?
victims. You are taking
I'm
victims.
trying to think of any chemical formulation in my mind. I think, what
I'm
can
not going
give
to
me
use blue
flame?
flames. I'm just going to use a candle and use like hairspray.
No, this is just weird times.
I'm going to make a torch. Lighter and hairspray.
Because there's nothing else actually interesting happened in the 1800s. There weren't like big momentous things. There weren't, except for I think in London and in Europe, 1800s were the big.
You're forgetting this was so big that a lord or somebody, what
Yeah,
was
this
it?
specific case, but there was nothing else. There wasn't a war or a plague yet or a sinking of a
But it
Titanic.
didn't have to be.
The worst thing that happened, not worst thing, the most memorable thing that happened in the Victorian era was basically people started believing in ghosts, and secondly, people looked to faith more. Church suddenly became a big thing. But yet again, in the same era, people started believing in supernatural, so they invested themselves more
Lord
into
Mayor of
church.
London, Sir John Cowan. You're not going to just randomly, for it to get to him, it had to be something serious.
But the blue flames didn't exist.
You do get blue flames.
You did get blue flames, but how am I going to spew it from my mouth?
I-
It's not like I'm not going to eat a
Remember,
bunch of
he's
magnesium.
wearing a mask because he has red eyes. So I'm pretty sure you can put anything that you can have a canister on your back or something and then press a button and it goes through your mask. It doesn't have to be actually in his mouth. So
Well,
it looks like it's coming out of the
Not
mask.
yet. Not in this era.
How would you know?
It's not that far back, but too far back for small parts. What you're explaining is something that existed out of plastic. Plastic wasn't invented yet.
It's not necessarily plastic. It could be steel. You don't know what they did back then. You don't know how smart this guy was. He could leap so far that nobody could explain. For all you know, it was from the future.
What if?
Maybe he traveled back in
What
time.
if he invented that little bouncy thing? You know that that looked like a little jackhammer, and that's why his name was called Jack, because he was jumping on a jackhammer.
Like I say, maybe he came from the future. Maybe he had stuff none of us knew or saw. You won't know. Because he was never caught.
I would just like to know more about Springfield Jack.
Spring Hill, not
Sorry,
Field.
Spring-
Where's
Spring-
Field? Since when is he Field?
I was watching a bit of Simpsons a bit earlier, so yeah, let's not go there. Anyway,
He could have come from the future. I'm sticking to that one.
Okay,
He
so you're
came
going
from the
with future?
future. He had technology that we don't even have now. And he decided to use his abilities for bad instead of good. He was a villain.
I just feel like if with the hysteria of that era, the people starting believing in ghosts, I think
Rolling my
why
eyes.
would
I
why
swear,
would
I'm
they
rolling my
go-
eyes at
why-
every single
why-
podcast these
Why
days.
would they go for blue flame? I think red flame, orange flame, that would have been
It's
like the
something normal
scary
and
one.
boring. No, a blue flame would freak me so much more. I would freak out so much more if this blue flame is in my face than a normal flame. Think about it. It's so much more intense. It wasn't red, it wasn't orange, it wasn't a normal flame. This blue flame came at you while these red eyes were looking at you. No, that would be so much worse. You cannot disagree. The blue flame makes him worse.
Anyway,
Let's see what makes a blue flame.
Okay, let's go back.
What makes
A blue flame.
blue?
There's a lot of things that make blue. Borium makes blue flame.
What's boring?
It's a
A blue flame indicates a clean and efficient combustion process, typically seen when there's a good supply of oxygen and the fuel is pure or relatively pure. This means the fuel is burning completely, creating less soot and producing less carbon monoxide.
like
Carbon
our gas
monoxide.
stove.
Blue flames are also often hotter than yellow or orange flames. So basically, it's even a hotter flame, so that makes it worse. So he is worse.
Yeah, blue flame is worse, but they didn't know it back then.
I'm going to say, he's from the future, he knew. He knew. And still, even if he didn't know, I would freak out more if a blue flame came at me. And if it's so easy to make blue flames, what's your issue?
Back then, it would have been more difficult to make blue flame in the 1800s.
But they could. You don't know how smart this guy is. He can leap farther than a kangaroo. I don't know. He can leap from the floor to the roof, so it has to be something huge. No, sorry.
Like I said, this is
I don't agree with you.
the last
This guy was
sighting,
creepy. He was horrible.
But yet again, in the last story, you said he was actually a folk hero now. So
No, he wasn't a folk hero now. They made a story that they took from that. But if you look at the other stories from Batman, they used him as a villain. So one person decided to make a leaping person somebody special, but the rest didn't. Just because one person did it doesn't. You're one person that doesn't agree with the rest of the world. That doesn't make you right.
I'm just keep in mind, we're talking about someone with chemical knowledge or knowledge of making blue flame in the exact same era where they invented pasteurization. That means they didn't believe there were microorganisms in milk until the 1860s-ish. So in the same
I'm pretty sure there was still people smarter out there that wasn't believed. In school, Einstein was the dumbest person ever, and look at all his work now.
Allegedly.
That's what I'm saying.
That's another myth that we can have a whole podcast over. Nobody ever told him that. Anyway.
Let's just let it go.
Okay. Let's finish this up.
So, if you find yourself walking alone at night and you hear a faint sound or something landing just behind you, maybe, just maybe, don't turn around too quickly. Because some legends, they don't stay buried.
If you enjoyed diving down the rabbit hole into the world of weird with us, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share your own thoughts. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for more content. And please share our podcast with fellow folklore lovers to help us grow.
Until next time, stay curious and keep the legends alive. Bye.
Bye.